A whopping 1,500 miles of winter weather alert. Everything is vibration. My wish is for a highly evolutionary year 2025, filled with faith, sincerity, courage, and joy. The new being is emerging within us. Let's not take world events too seriously and continue our ego dissolution with a smile. David Dubyne from Adapt 2030 has been bringing forward very comprehensive reports on the massive ice storms and power blackout alerts in the eastern half of the United States. Please follow David for detailed updates on Adapt 2030. I'm only presenting here the small beginning of these extreme events. A whopping 1,500 miles of winter weather alerts have been issued by the NWS ahead of late weekend, early week major winter storm. Map showing blizzard warning, ice storm warning, heavy freezing spray warning, winter storm warning. Many reports are coming in from Canada, Japan, United Kingdom, and the USA. World in winter chaos. Monster snowstorms. Snowfall amounts are wild. Blockbuster accumulations from Kansas to Washington, D.C. New year, new pattern. Lower 48, first half of January. Arctic air allowed to spill south into the U.S. Dip in jet stream will support active pattern. Lowest forecasted temperatures, January 3rd to 10th, 2025. Below freezing all the way down to Florida. Extreme cold, January 8th to 10th. Temperature anomaly. This type of map is showing up everywhere. Lower atmospheric temperature, January 10th, compared to 1991 to 2020 average. David Dubyne is warning us of the possible coming ice storms. I personally lived through the 1998 ice storm in Ontario and Quebec in Canada. It was quite an experience. On this date in 1998, an ice storm developed over southern Ontario and Quebec. The storm left millions without power, killed 34 people, and caused 5 to 7 billion in damages. With all the solar and wind structures either decimated by storms or under a thick sheet of ice, electric power will be severely compromised for extended periods of time. Nature is creating great damages. Intentional food shortages, a crisis by design. The food shortages we saw in 2024 might just be the warm-up act for what's coming in 2025. With droughts, ravaging crops, supply chains in chaos, and inflation driving up prices at the grocery store, the food crisis is already rearing up its ugly head. But don't be fooled by the narrative that these issues are merely the result of bad luck or unforeseen circumstances. No, we believe that these shortages are being deliberately engineered by powerful global elites who are intent on controlling food production and, by extension, controlling people. This is about owning the world. If they control the land, they control the food. If they control the food, they control us. Welcome to 2025, where hunger might not just be the result of bad weather, but the direct consequence of a carefully crafted agenda to control everything we eat, from seed to plate. I'm in gratitude every moment because all I have to deal with is extra rain. Unfortunately, even individuals who are waking up do not understand what is happening. Humanity is being bombarded with tragedies, more and more every day, but most people are still trying to find a solution inside this rotten system. Humanity is in a monumental dead end. This is an evolutionary crisis. It is the end of the human species, the end of the intelligent animal. Each individual must take the decision to stop participating and feeding this horrible illusion, which we believe to be our reality. It is time to dream very hard about the next step, the new eidesic species. It is the separation of me with myself which causes fear. This is where fear comes from. Fear stops the person from contacting his natural common sense. This is how he becomes disconnected from his intelligence and his reason, and therefore he is manipulable at will from the outside. It is by keeping the human being in forgetfulness of who he is, the creator of the universe, that he is reduced to a fearful sheep who puts his trust in his usurpers. Well played, external authorities, but your beautiful days are numbered. It will not be like that anymore. We are committed to discovering our inner sovereignty and obeying it, because a sheep who is no longer afraid is no longer a sheep. Recently, my soul pushed me with extreme intensity, and therefore I had to listen to her. I faced my greatest fear. I left my family and the world of illusion. The only way forward is to get out of the illusion, out of the triangle of hell. I must remember who I am, and then understand what the hell I'm doing here on earth. I include the links to my video, I'm Out of the Matrix. Booklet number 1 of Personal Creatia, Evolution Towards the New Species. This first booklet was published in French and English in 2008 and in Spanish in 2009. DSG updated this booklet in 2020, but only in French. In order to share this latest information, I will be translating the 2020 French version into English and Spanish. When a similar page is available in the original version, I will include a screenshot of that page, as well as the translated 2020 version. If a similar page is not available, I will include the French page as well as the translated page. Please share this information with awakening individuals. Booklet number 1 of Personal Creatia, Evolution Towards the New Species, pages 36 and 37. Everything is vibration. All that exists on planet Earth is made up of 4 different types of energy, vibrating at frequencies ranging from the slowest to the fastest. 1. Physical. 2. Vital. 3. Mental. And 4. Soulic. All these vibrations are located in space and time, hence the body-soul separation. In addition, the highest frequencies have priority over the other lower ones. Consequently, the soul has priority over the physical. From there we understand the relentlessness of the authorities to prevent the soul-body union and impose the MK, the mental control of individuals, at all costs and by all means. Among minerals, only the physical envelope, 1, prevails. On the other hand, plants and animals have 2 envelopes, 1 plus 2, evolved, but 1 mental envelope, 3, barely evolved. Consequently, the bodies of minerals or plants and animals always remain in survival and fear of dying. Only human beings, thanks to their evolved mind, 3, can one day escape survival and death, provided they put this mind at the service of the soul, 4, and not at the service of the ego. The big problem is that I identify with my body. I am a woman, a lawyer, a grandmother, a cook, an artist. Ah, ah, ah. I forgot that I am a soul in a body. It is the equivalent of identifying with the car rather than its driver. When I take myself only for a body and forget the soul, good and evil are necessary for the continuation of my life. The idea of good and evil is a human mental invention. Animals do not ask themselves this question. For them, everything that helps life is good, and everything that leads to death is bad. But for the soul, there is neither good nor evil. Everything is an eidesic experience. In fact, good and evil work hand in hand to bring me at the very end of a long road to a last stage of humanity, where the invincible and irresistible vibration of truth triumphs. The illusory perception of the world disappears. It is cancelled. Beyond the vibrations, in time without death, and space without distance, the beginnings of the new species are formidable pulsations of love that create the entire universe at every moment. Soulic, the adjective of the soul. The soul is eidesa, incarnated in matter. Evolution stems from aspiration. Evolution stems from aspiration. You have to aspire in order for change to happen. Fish dreamed of jumping out of the water, and lizards dreamed of flying. Why? Because their living conditions had become so painful that they aspired to change. So their gills turned into lungs and their legs into wings. And me, the human being, what do I aspire to? What have dreams been filled with since the beginning of humanity? Omnipotence, immortality, omniscience, boundless joy, and infinite love. The dream of being God. Why? Because it is my next step. I live on planet Earth, which was designed precisely to create a totally godlike being in matter. It is the place of the radical transformation of human nature. And this change will take place in me, inside of me. Why in me? Because evolution always happens from the inside to the outside, and not the other way around. From the outside to the inside, as Darwin claimed. This is precisely what is happening right now. We are experiencing the great planetary suffocation, the deepest despair and suffering. The time has finally come to dream very hard about the next step, the new eidesic species. How? By desperately wanting something different. Like the tree that stretches its efforts towards the sun, I aspire to the truth of my true nature and the true world. My whole being is thirsty for authenticity. To get there, I fan the ardor of the fire of my soul. 1. First by my aspiration to God that I am. 2. Then by my concentration on Him. And 3. Finally, by my consecration to Him. As ko. From the spark that it is at the beginning, my aspiration becomes a flame, and then a blaze. Every fear I heal, every habit I transgress, is one more log that smiles at the fire of my aspiration. This is how the truth springs forth, the world as it is. How does a caterpillar become a butterfly? First, by possessing the program inside of itself. Then, signs in the environment indicate to it that the time for its mutation has come. Cold, lack of food, shorter days, etc. It then decides to stop its old habits and begins to weave a cocoon in which its entire body is reworked. This is the chrysalis stage. Once the transformation is complete, it emerges from the cocoon. It is another being that emerges. It now flies and feeds on the juice of flowers. This is how the evolution of species takes place. Today, our turn has come to die to our old species and be born to the eidetic being that is already in us. Here are 3 pages covering these topics in the English Evolution booklet. Infinite love. From millennium slavery to individual sovereignty. In the Orient, in the 20th century, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother discovered and anchored truth consciousness, the supramental consciousness in the earthly atmosphere. Once well anchored, the new consciousness was ready to move on to the next stage, its popularization and propagation. In the West, in the 21st century emerged personal creatia, the power of the sovereign person to govern oneself. Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga goes beyond individual liberation and undertakes collective transformation on earth. After the death of Sri Aurobindo, the Mother continued their work, and on February 29, 1956, the supramental consciousness was definitely anchored on earth. One single and sincere look at the present world situation is enough to convince anybody that it has reached a point of no return. Humanity is heading towards a monumental dead end. Let's stop repeating our obsolete ways, which can only bring more suffering. Personal creatia continues the diffusion of truth consciousness in the West. Substantial unity replaces the guru-disciple separation. Let us all spread the contagion of love. I'm out of the game. Like Truman in The Truman Show, I have taken my bow and left a world of illusion, this computer simulation to which I have given authority to manage my life. I leave the theater where I have played time and time again the roles of disciple, daughter, parent, dentist, entrepreneur, citizen. Today, I devote myself fully and without limits to spreading individual sovereignty, the truth consciousness that I have been experiencing since 2002. infinite love.